There he is. Hi.
How are you?
Good. Very, very pregnant and ready to pop.
Exciting. I love it.
Well,
So
thank you so. Did you have a good Thanksgiving?
I did. I did. I was the chef de cuisine in my house. So I think everything went well. My two daughters were fans, but my wife was a bigger fan. I think they have the mac and cheese, but it was good. How about you?
That's awesome. I had a great Thanksgiving. Yeah, I'm like Cyber Monday kind of comes at you, and it's like, whoa, like
Yeah.
you need a vacation from your Thanksgiving, and the way I traveled and. Anywho, I am so excited to have you live here on Instagram. We're of course going to share it to the Facebook group, which you have been a part of since the beginning.
The beginning.
You are one of the first people that I connected with in the non-alcoholic, alcohol-free space on the beverage side. And so I've really followed your growth. I am a product of the product. I think I've tried everything. I love it all.
Awesome.
I am drinking one of the ready to drinks right now. This is like my new favorite.
It's so good.
It's so good. So I'm going to try to stay focused because I'm like excited and I have like so much I want to say. But let's start.
Say that I'm excited to be here with you, Christine. And I remember distinctly our first phone call and just being super inspired by your story and your enthusiasm for the category. I was like, if we get on her side, then we're good because she's an incredible advocate. So we're just grateful to have had a relationship. And I certainly remember it was in the middle of COVID, actually, having that phone call with you. And having a really, really great conversation that's continued. So thank you for having me on. I'm excited.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much. I mean, I'm sure you had like such a small team then, and now I'm getting to know all these new names from Lyres and lots of new products.
Absolutely.
So yay. Okay. So I like to start with kind of, I want to give everybody the story behind the story. You know, we get lots of pictures and recipes and things as we bouncing around the internet, but I like to dive into what makes each brand different and unique. And I want to start with you. Maybe you can give us a little introduction to Mark as well, or
Sure.
About Mark. But tell us a little about you, where you're from, and what you were doing before Lyres.
Yeah, of course. So, and I'll talk a little bit about Mark as well, who's our co-founder and CEO. But my own personal story with Lyres, I'm originally from North Carolina, not too far from you, but I've been in the food and beverage business my entire career. And so previous to working with Lyres, I was a sommelier for many years, and then I was also part of the LVMH team as a champagne specialist. Yeah, so it was a lot of fun. But one of the things that's always been, I don't know if it's kind of you're born with it, if it's innate or if it's something you kind of grow to love, but the extension of hospitality was really, really important to me. And that has a very direct link to why I was attracted to Lyres. I saw the potential for the category when I was presented with it by Mark actually himself. And then I thought to myself, man, if we really want to have people come on board, and really invite everybody underneath the umbrella, this is the way to do that. Because for Lyres, it's really not about judgment or telling people when and where. It's just giving them an option, giving them an alternative, and so that's something that really, really appealed to me and still does. And I think sometimes you go through the steps of creating a business, launching it, communicating it. But what's really valuable and really kind of cherished by me and a lot of people in the company is kind of when people talk to you personally and say, this has really changed, my life. There wasn't a place where I could have a drink. There wasn't, whether it's you're mixing cocktails that don't have any alcohol, or you just needed a break, or you have there's just so many choices for you now. And so that really means a lot to us that we could offer that to people and give people that freedom of choice.
Right. And I love how you share really on your website. It's not just for those that want no alcohol or alcohol free, but even a lower proof options. I mean, you can mix up the cocktail even with your orange sack or your, vermouth. Okay. So very cool. So tell us a little bit about the beginnings of the brand Lyres and Mark being the co-founder.
Yeah. So Mark Livings co-founder, another co-founder is Carl Hartman. He, his kind of backstory is that he's in a lot of kind of meetings. He's launched a few different companies, and commensurate with that is a lot of social engagement, and that includes drinking. They seem to, at least at the time, go hand in hand, right? Like if you want to network, if you want to meet people, if you want to socialize, that always involved having alcohol. And just remove it and say don't drink, but we did want to give people that choice. And he recognized that there was a demand in his personal life, and I think that's important too. Everybody has their kind of personal journey with alcohol, whether it's taking it off for a night or for a life. I mean, that's your choice. But he came to the realization that he didn't always want to have to drink. He didn't want it to be kind of a staple, that you have to do that. So he recognized that other people kind of felt the same way. And so he created what he thought was the most seamless transition for people, which was to take what they're already drinking or what they already recognize as some of the staples of the beverage industry, and just give them a non-alcoholic format. So that's why we have so many different Lyre spirits, because while it's tricky on one hand to kind of make sure we keep up inventory and do kind of the necessary background steps, it's also really useful that we can complete the entire canon of the cocktail beverage world, which is really, really important. Because if you, Christine, really love the taste of mojitos, and if I really like the taste of a daiquiri, very similar drinks, but you can have those options with Lyre. So it just gives people the choice and kind of meet them where they are. That's the idea.
Yeah. I mean, to have a full bar of pretty much all the spirits, then you've got your champagne alternative, you've got ready to drink. I took a bunch of these this weekend to Georgia, and sitting by the campfire. I have it in a glass right now that's my at-home style, but to have this, a friend of mine even said, I couldn't finish it. I couldn't drink it. It brought me back to the real thing now, which is so interesting because you do such a good job on the flavor profiles, right? And that's kind of on purpose. So it's right that we're looking for alternatives, but we don't have the guilt of hangovers and getting off course. Like, I'm 2.5 years alcohol free right now, but it's companies like yours that make me feel like I'm not missing out. And
I think there's so many different corollaries, right? So for example, if you want to stop drinking, but that you're trying to be mindful of what you consume and you want to have an active lifestyle, and let's just take, let's say for me, I want to get up early to work out so that I can take my daughters to school, right? I don't want to drink the night before and, compromise my ability to do the next day's things. And so that's one personal journey. And then another could be, I want a wedge drink, while you're out and about, where you say, I don't want to have 5, I want to cut back, and I still want to have something in my hand. Just that simple gesture is really, really important for people. And so there's so many different ways to do it. And I really love that you brought out the ready to drink options, because I think that's the ultimate fulfillment of our ethos, of our mission, at least, to give people the drink they want whenever they want it, wherever they want it. Because it's really hard sometimes if you want to go a martini, you can't do that by the campfire necessarily. It's really tricky. But if you take those and crack them open, you're good to go. And I really, really like that.
Yeah. And you guys honestly did such a good job with that. To be able to replace your White Claws on the boat, obviously not bring all the bottles with me to Georgia, but, that was one of the things that I think intimidated me early on in the mocktail space, is that I'm not a bartender. I'm learning a heck of a lot now, 2 years into this, but, there's fun in making cocktails. And then there's some also like intimidation. It's like, I just want easy. I'm stressed out. I just want easy.
100%. Well, what's nice is learning about cocktails is a ton of fun. So, we want to encourage everybody to do that. But also what's nice is that with Lyres, I really like that we've created kind of a strata, if you will. So we have kind of the simple mixed ones. So if you take your American malt and mix it with Coke, you have a cocktail, right? Boom. But if you really wanted to go and be precise, you can make an old fashioned, you can make something in between, or, I'm sure you're a liquid kitchen chef yourself, Christine, so I'm sure you could whip something up that is, your own personal recipe. You can have fun and play with that. What's nice is that our recipes are interchangeable. So if you want a martini, say for example, that was non-alcoholic, you would just use the exact same recipes that you would get from kind of the classic recipe books and just make them the same way, or replace them if you just wanted a low alcohol option.
Yeah, and you guys have a fantastic database of recipes, so everybody should check that out on your website. Let's talk about getting the recipe right, okay? Because you have a full range, and it always, you know, right now it seems like, whoa, there's something new. Whoa, there's something new.
Yeah,
But it was slow and steady at the beginning, and I remember one of my first questions to you was like, do you have a vodka? You know, and you were the one who explained to me actually how hard that is to do, because it's like, do you want water? Like, no. So if you could tell us a little bit about who's behind the scenes and creating and getting these recipes right, and maybe why, you know, it could take so long to get to, for some, to be released.
Yeah, so there's a few different answers there. First off, I want to give credit to David Murphy, who is our global flavor architect. And I love David. He's a sweetheart of a guy, but he's also a current Somm too. So we have kind of a fraternity there. But yeah, he creates these flavors, and what he does is he models them off of these spirits that you have already. So he'll take the kind of components to kind of get down to the nitty gritty. These are based off of the essences, extracts, and distillates that you would find in the natural world, that we just kind of build onto each other. What we didn't want to do is kind of strip out an alcoholic beverage, just rip out the alcohol and call it a day, because we feel like a lot of flavor is taken out that way. We really wanted to give you that full experience. And so that's what we did. And again, something like, you know, an American malt is 40%, well, when it's bourbon, it's 40% alcohol. So that's really tricky. You really want to mix it together. But we really want to get, you know, when you smell a drink, and I've taught plenty of classes, whether it's wine or cocktails, where there's 3 elements to enjoying a beverage outside of the social atmosphere. It's really the way it looks, the way it smells, and the way it tastes. Those 3 have to integrate really nicely. So that's something we wanted to replicate with Lyres, with all of our drinks, that it looks, tastes, and smells exactly like the spirits that you know and love. So David Murphy is the primary culprit there for the incredible award-winning line that we have, and we have more on the way, as I'm sure you're well aware of.
Yeah, awesome. Looks, smells, and tastes. So you're so right. And I tell a lot of people in the space when we talk about non-alcoholic craft cocktails or mocktails, whichever you prefer to say, that sometimes it can be the glass that you use too, and the garnishes or the type of ice, all of those things to go with the perfect spirits and great craft mixers to elevate the experience of drinking a non-alcoholic drink. So we think about what's been added as opposed to what has been taken away.
And I'll tell a little bit more about the recipes themselves, because we do have, I don't want to dismiss that, because it's really important. We love, I mean, the cocktail canon is so vast, and we love just being able to create different things and present them in a way that's kind of valuable for the person receiving it. What we really want is for you to have a group of people together, whether that's you're home entertaining or whether you're out at a bar, have a tray of cocktails that are beautifully garnished, have incredible stems, and nobody knows which one is non-alcoholic and which one is alcoholic, except for the so yeah, you want to present that. And so that's really important for us. What's also important for us is that the recipes are the same. So the education mountain that people have to kind of come over, because it's a new category. We have to present ourselves, make ourselves aware, but also educate people on what cocktails are. But it's also nice because you can introduce it to people that don't drink at all. You know, some people that have never drank before, but have always wondered, you know, I wonder what a martini that James Bond is talking about actually tastes like. You know, I wonder what, you know, what some of these are. So we have that opportunity, and we've done some mixology classes on the Lyres platform, and you'd be surprised on who joins those. It's kind of a varied mix of people that, you know, are just interested in mixology, but also what it tastes like and who they are. A lot of couples. So there's a demand from, you know, the whole range of different people, and the recipes are a key part of that, because when we talk about the drinks, it's one thing to have the range, but it has to, you know, signal something in their brain. Like it has to be you know, this is a jungle bird cocktail, this is an old fashioned cocktail. That's where we kind of, you know, you sell the recipes to sell the range to showcase what they are. So yeah, the recipes are really important, and we're proud that we're able to create a product that actually has that kind of one-to-one replaceable ratio.
Yeah, thank you for that. I had some friends over from the On the Mocks community a couple weekends ago, and I basically was like, everybody come play, you know, take the bottles off the shelves. I got my carts. Richard Loud, I think he might still be on. Big fan.
I didn't.
He definitely came on at the beginning. I think he was like first. He's so great. I know he loves Lyres a lot. Awesome. And he was like, has everybody tried the Amaretti Sour?
That's one of my favorites.
It is so good.
That one is like a showstopper because people go, and it's funny because, you know, I've drank plenty of regular cocktails in my life, but I actually think that one's better as a non-alcoholic because typically Amaretto itself is a little bit weighted down by the sugar content. But this one's a little bit lighter and fresher, so it's almost like an aperitif. So it looks and smells and tastes the same, but doesn't have that kind of weightiness, and it's perfect off. Richard's here, I see him.
He is.
But really fun one. I love the Amaretti Sour, especially just to showcase people. And usually, you know, when we go into, you know, bars and restaurants, a lot of times they're receptive because they get it that a lot of people aren't drinking, so they want to offer them something new. But if they don't get it, the first one I make is an Amaretto Sour with our product because it's really, really beautiful.
That's awesome. And of course your Negroni and
so many. Negroni's good because it's a perfect representation. There's just 3 equal parts all across the board, and it's incredible that we can put it in the glass and say, "Wow, there you go. There's a Negroni." Imagine that. So yeah, that's one that has been one of the kind of hero cocktails for us because, you know, especially from the trade side, they love Negronis. Negronis are a huge part of that, so it's nice to showcase that one too.
Yeah, I want to give a shout out to your white cane rum as well because there are a few, you know, darker rums on the, you know, on the market, but your white cane rum was one of my first favorites and also great for mojitos.
Oh yeah, I got it right. You like mojitos, is that right? Yeah, perfect.
Yeah, I like that. Okay, so tell us a little bit about the branding and the packaging. And you're a marketing guy, and I just love, like, you know, the story of obviously the story of the brand, but each label has a different piece of art, I want to say. Yeah. And where did the name Lyres come from?
Awesome. Let's start with Lyres. Not to be mistaken for anything lying, but the lyre bird is actually a native bird of Australia. And what's great about the lyrebird, what's incredible, there's some wonderful YouTube clips of it, is that it actually mimics the sound of nature around it. And that's not kind of exclusive to other birds or, you know, sounds of the jungle, but also something like a camera aperture or a person's voice. Like, it's a really incredible what the lyrebird is able to create. It's a beautiful bird. It's a semi-flightless bird, almost reminiscent of a peacock. But it's a really interesting to see how it kind of replicates sound. So we thought, there's what other representation, since this is an Australian company, lyrebird that mimics some of the classic sounds. This mimics classic. So all those things come together, and his name actually is Horatio. So that's our brand name. On every bottle, you'll see a little Horatio on there.
Oh, okay. So,
yeah.
And what is? Oh, it's so okay, but that's the same bird on. It's not the same. It is the same bird. Okay.
The neck of the bottle, Christine, they all have little Horatio with his top hat. And then in terms of the design of the bottles, you know, one thing from the marketing side, just a little inside baseball, we wanted it to be cohesive, to have cut through, and to be compelling. We really wanted these things to say, when people look on a shelf, they go, "Oh, that's interesting. What is that?" We still want to communicate that it's non-alcoholic. We're not trying to tell people otherwise. What we don't want to do is for people to go into a retail shop, pick up a bottle of American malt, for example, and say, "This is bourbon." We don't want them to do that. We want them to know that it's a non-alcoholic, but we want them to taste like bourbon for sure. But yeah, so that's part of it. We really wanted to create this design, and the approach with the animals. These are kind of reflective of their kind of native spirit. We really want it to be kind of an homage to those spirits. So for example, if you take the American Bear, the American Malt, it just goes perfect.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at the absinthe bottle, it has the French frog on there because, kind of a callback to France. And the other ones have similar callbacks too. So the Dry London has the pigeon, the world-renowned pigeon that you might find in England because it's similar to a London Dry. So yeah, those are just kind of the elements that we want to harken back to and give homage to where the original spirits are from.
That's fascinating. Like no detail overlooked. You guys are on it.
Yeah, we're proud. We have a couple coming out. I'm really excited to share those when they do. But yeah, the animals, the social animals are a really big part of it. And that's an extension too, is that we wanted to create, these they're anthropomorphized obviously, but we wanted to have them represent kind of, you bring who you are to the party, right? Whether you're drinking or not, you have that option. So be yourself, be your own social animal. And then come to the party. Nobody's, judged, or you're free to come. It's very inclusive. And that's part of the branding as well. So it's a kind of, not a insubstantial piece of having those animals be on there for that reason.
Awesome. Thank you. Now you just touched on, and I don't know if you can share anything, but anything new recipe wise or spirit wise in the works. You just released the Classico bottle. Yeah. And I believe the pink gin, if they're correct, tell me how to, I don't know what, I'm not going to put words in your mouth. I'm just going to say, tell us what you're allowed to tell us.
What you're telling what's new in Lyre's world? So many things, Christine. And even though I tell you now, in a couple weeks, if we do another Instagram Live, there might be more. So who knows? But I will say this. I want to first, you already brought up the Dark and Spicy and the American Molten Cola are two of our newest ready-to-drink products. And those are fantastic. We have 5 total, including those 2. But those are really, I'll tell you a little inside story. Hopefully my dad's not going to be mad at me for sharing this. But when I was a kid, we used to go to, he went to Chapel Hill, as did I. But we used to go to college football games, and he used to take me and my brothers in, and he used to sneak airplane bottles of bourbon in, and we would pour them in his Coke, right? And so that's a very distinct smell for me. And when the first time I tried the American Molten Cola, it took me back to being at at the Carolina Stadium. So that one is spot on. That is really, really good. And the Dark and Spicy, I love ginger, just the taste of ginger. And I love spiced rum and dark rum. I think the rums themselves, just kind of a tangent here, are really versatile. They haven't sold a ton in terms of like the rum category for the last 10 years. But for us, we thought it was really important to have them because so many different cocktails are integral to, the broader cocktail space, the landscape, that we wanted to have 3 different versions for you. So like you said, mojito, there's the painkiller, there's the dark and spicy, which is reflective of the dark and stormy. There's just so many. And so this one is really cool that you can have flavor, especially now. I think people are kind of gravitating towards those ones, autumn and darker spirits. And this gives you, it's a little bit easier, kind of more fitting for the season. So those are the RTDs, which we're really proud of. For me, I think being able to take this to a picnic or the beach or to the fire pit in Christine's backyard or hanging out. There's just so many opportunities there. So a ton of fun there. We also, launched the Pink London Spirit, which we launched that in the UK. And that's a market that was really keen on it. They've had a pretty mature market in terms of non-alcoholic spirit, full stop, but also pink gin is a big one. But across the board, gin has blown up just generally. And you'll see kind of analogs between, or rather parallels between, some of the variants that we have and some that are really well. But flavored gin specifically, there's, what we've termed flavor explorers, people that are looking for different flavors and such. And pink gin really fulfills that. It was the leading kind of flavored gin for the UK last year. And we're confident that, people in the United States are also in that flavor explorer category where they say, oh, this is interesting. This is a gin. And so that's kind of a nice one to place next to our Dry London as well. I love showcasing that. And then you mentioned it, the Classico in the bottle, which is perfect. We talked to a lot of venues and they say they like to offer a little bit, and these are kind of premier venues, lighthouse accounts, we call them. They like to offer a little bit of a taste for, let's say, an anniversary or a celebration, and that's typically champagne. And you can't do that if people aren't drinking. So we have this beautifully elegant bottle designed by our team, but headed by Christy Bloomfield, who's an amazing marketer. And we put together this package where it looks beautiful, gorgeous. Actually, I'm happy to report that the Gotham FC, Carly Lloyd, retired a couple weeks ago now, but they sprayed her down for her final game with Lyre. So I was so happy to see that, and really just showcasing that, athletes, want to celebrate, want to be part of the party also, just, don't necessarily need to drink to do that. So that's a beautiful bottle. And then we have a spirit coming. I'll hold fire until the next couple of weeks. You'll be the first to know, though, Miss Christine.
Okay.
And we have another one in the very, very near future that I'm really excited to share with you guys.
That is a lot to be excited about. I do have to ask, because it's come up a couple of times, because we're all excited about it. The Classico bottle, it's sold out right now, but is it coming in a week or 2 weeks, a month?
Very soon. Very
soon.
Yeah, we've had multiple shipments, air freights, and shipping, by sea. So it'll be soon. So hopefully we can flip on that switch and get you guys more ASAP.
Okay, cool. Well, you can see that there was a great, that it was received quite well. I know a friend that was going in for a bottle and ended up buying a case because holidays. Right? Okay, so who makes up, would you say, your largest audience right now? Is more alcohol free, more people cutting back? If you even know, it can be hard to compartmentalize this audience. But
yeah, the audience is interesting because the early adopters for us, and forgive me, I'm using some marketing language here, has been the kind of sober, curious crowd, right? The people that wanted alternatives, that are not drinking anyways, so they were seeking, something new that didn't have alcohol. And there's so many options that have come onto the market. So they've been early adopters, and we're really happy to have that. And we're keen to kind of broaden that, obviously. We want to bridge that chasm for people that, some of the early majority, to give them that option, to give that kind of routine where they can have a non-alcoholic drink as part of their drinking routine. And so, but we've been surprised. I think the surprising thing for me, to be honest, Christine, is where people are buying it. So, for example, we look at return on ad spend. We look at some anecdotal evidence from some of the mixology classes. And the common denominator is not necessarily the type of person, but where they're coming from. Like Texas is incredibly, responsive to this, but also—
You say Texas?
Texas, yeah. Like huge demand in Texas. Charlotte, and not just because you're there, but there's a huge, support system for us there. And then places like Maine and just these random pockets are really, really keen. Which you wouldn't think there's a common, underlying common denominator there, but some of these spaces, and that just goes to show how diverse these can appeal to people, where, in different regions, different places in the country, that they're really, really kind of latching onto. And that's just in the United States. We've already launched into 61 different countries with more on the way. So there's a ton of, people, and, we're currently in the Middle East right now, which is great because that seems obvious, but even places that are, known for their drinking habits, like Italy and France and Germany, they're on board as well. So the common denominators is, it's hard to tell, and we're looking to just bring people more, instead of the person, the occasion, I think, is the most important thing, to say, when are you drinking? And that's when we want to introduce you to Lyres and say, when you are drinking, there's an option if you so choose.
I just got goosebumps to think about how it's spreading out. It's not going to happen overnight. It didn't happen overnight to even get to where we are, right? But month by month, year by year, that a non-alcoholic option could be a little bit more accessible it literally gives me goosebumps. I could not find any non-alcoholic beer where I was over for Thanksgiving. Right. And it was just like, because it's not at gas stations, and it's not, but it will be.
Well, we want to make sure, that's kind of our job, is the category is growing. And even in the time that we've known each other, Christine, it's grown, exponentially. So it's really just getting people the option in spaces. So hopefully in gas stations and premier retailers, and then whenever you go out to eat or drink, that should be the standard non-alcoholic option.
Absolutely. So we're going to spread the word to those restaurants. We're on it.
Yes.
Okay. I'm trying to think. We've answered some of these questions, but so let's talk about where we can shop. I mean, we shop directly with you. You seem to be in quite a few places, which is great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Spreading. So,
Yeah.
depending on where you are, we have some great regional accounts that we're partnered with. So if you're on the West Coast like me, Albertsons, Vaughn's, Pavilions, feel free to check out us there. Bevmo. If you're on the East Coast, Total Wine, you can find it there. And then in Texas, we're in Specs and Central Market. If you're in the Chicago area, Benny's is a big purveyor. And then there's kind of some, retailers all over, like kind of small independent shops. There's one in Denver that we really love called Awake that we've done some partnerships. And then, so we're trying to grow and build that kind of national account presence. But if all else fails and you can't find it in your area, lyres.com will ship to you anywhere. So that's where, a lot of our business comes through is lyres.com, lyres.com.
Yes. We've been sending people there. You guys have a Cyber Monday deal going on. If you buy 3, you can choose 1 more for to add to the package. You've gifted us and our community with a promo code on the Mocks 15. Thank you guys. You're even on Amazon, right? So
that's right.
Shipping there. Hi. Okay, I love to see the comments and stuff. Okay, so we've done. Is there anything else that you would like to share to wrap things up that we haven't covered? We've covered quite a lot, and that that you want to kind of end off with.
Well, I think that the biggest thing is to recognize that everybody's journey is personal, and that's the whole thing with Lyres. We really want people to reflect and to live their lives the way they choose. So when we talk about core values for us, it's all about freedom and inclusion and your kind of right to choice. I think the simplest thing for us is that we really want people to feel comfortable being in social environments or in those drinking occasions and not feel left out and giving you that option. Because, sometimes if you're in a bar and there comes a lot of baggage, a lot of questions, a lot of negativity there. And that's not where we want to be. We really want to give people that option to make it a Lyres or to give themselves something that is, up to par with the experience that other people are having. So that's the key for us, is giving people that freedom. I think the best way for us to fulfill that is to give you those ready to drink options, or to give you a whole range, whether you like, a coffee affogato, or whether you like, the old fashioned, or an Amaretti Sour, or a dark and stormy. We have literally hundreds of recipes, Christine.
Yeah.
So many to choose from. And do you have a recipe book, by the way? I'd love to send you one if you don't have one. If not,
no, I don't think. I mean, I don't know if it was a book or a pamphlet. I might.
You probably received one if we sent you some, but we actually have a recipe book that has all the recipes. When I say all, I say a good amount. There's a ton, but and more being made. But I want to send you that, and that's available on the website as well. But I'll send you that. But that's the key. Meeting people where they are, letting people have their personal journeys, and decide for themselves how and why and when they want to choose to drink. So that's the main thing for us, and we've done that. The reason we've created so many different spirits is to really create and fulfill that mission of just giving people that option.
You really have. If anyone out there is creating their own recipes, tag Lyres, tag us at On the Mocks. We want to share them. It's fun to play. I've really enjoyed getting to know. I've never been a bartender. I've been a waitress. I've been a manager, marketing manager. I've been all these things in the restaurant, but never behind the bar. And I used to be a wine drinker. So now I am.
That your cocktail making skills have improved, Christine.
You
whip up some. I think they're pretty good. I think you're selling yourself a little short.
Oh, what else is new? But that's the part of the fun about being alcohol free now. Yes, being able to enjoy life with a new perspective, enjoy the holidays and be present. Less hangovers are an option for everybody on this.
The whole thing. You can do what you want to do and still have a good time.
Yes. Well, that's why I've got my shirts. So fun. Still a party girl at heart.
Yeah.
um, soon to be mom. And
How are you feeling, by
thank
the
you,
way?
Kyle. Sorry?
How are you feeling? Are you excited?
Oh, how am I feeling? I'm
Yeah.
at that ready to pop stage. Baby is due December 26th, which we know could just mean pretty much now till then.
Right, right.
A Christmas gift to us all.
Yes. So
But I've
excited.
been pretty blessed.
Yeah,
Thank you. Yeah,
of
it's
course.
exciting. I feel like it's like the whole community's baby. I do a lot of personal sharing, but
Love it.
yeah, thank you so much for your time. I want to thank Cameron, who I know who was on. I saw his name pop on. He's been wonderful in sharing your brand and answering questions inside the Facebook community. I'll be sure to share the link there and everywhere and on email and stuff. So thank you. Thank you. Happy holidays.
Thank you. Same to you, Christine. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, so fun. All right. Talk to you later.
All right, take care.
Bye.